Hey guys, it's Just For You. Welcome back to the podcast. Today is a very special day as it is July 16th, 2020. It is my birthday!
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22.
I need you guys to cheer more.
Woo! Woo!
As it's established, it is the greatest person alive's birthday, aka mine, and we just so happen to be recording my episode today. So this week's topic is moving away, something we haven't done yet. Well, except for 3Preet. Amin and I still live at home, partially because of COVID, partially because I cannot live alone. So I just wanted to get into the episode. So we all live in a suburb in New Hampshire. And why do we live here, guys?
Because our parents brought us here.
Yeah. So I don't know the story about our parents picking this town. Do you guys?
Yes. Okay, 3Preet, you go ahead. Basically, my dad came to the United States, and they first lived in New York, and then they went to Boston. In between that, my mom and dad got married, and then my mom moved to the United States after my dad did. And they were working at different restaurants and stuff, but then they realized that they wanted to open their own business, so they moved to this town in New Hampshire from Boston.
It's short and sweet, but for them it was probably long and hard.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That doesn't give it justice.
Yeah. Oh. I really there's a small story about 3Preet's mom. She learned how to make pancakes at McDonald's, and that is my favorite story about 3Preet's mom.
That's because she's a pro at making pancakes, and no one else can make better pancakes than her.
I'm gonna test that. Amin's mom makes the best pancakes, but your moms are right up there. I will say a notch down, and then my moms are just shit.
I don't think I've ever had 3Preet's mom's pancakes.
They're really good. But your moms, just aesthetically, they look better than 3Preet's moms.
Damn, Just Preet, you just had to go there.
I just did. But honestly, 3Preet's mom's pancakes have a story.
Yeah. I guess. Anyway, let's get on with it.
Okay, so I just moved back home after living at college, and at that point in life, I was maybe living 2 months out of the year at home. And now I've been home for 4 months, and I've reached my breaking point. I do not want to live here anymore. Do you guys feel the same way since moving back, or what's it like?
Well, as you all know, just we kind of touched upon this. I moved away from home because of my job mainly. And I'm back home because of COVID. But I also, I've had the taste of living by myself, and I don't want to live by myself anymore, and other things that contributed to it. But I honestly want to be back with my family, so that's a different twist. From if you had asked me a year from now, I would have been like, yes, I want to live by myself.
Yeah. What about you, moms?
So I have never lived away from home. So I commuted during college, obviously lived at home during high school, and I've just been at home ever since. And I don't know. I think that part of it's personal reasons why I don't want to move out, but part of it is I don't want to just go and live by myself in some strange place where I've never been. So I really want someone to go and move to where I want to live, and then I'll go and follow them and get my own apartment. So maybe one of you can do that. But for now, I'm pretty happy. I don't think I'd be happy if I spent my whole entire life living at home. But yeah, I'm content where I am.
I totally agree with you, Amin. I could never live alone or move somewhere alone. I feel that's too much pressure. and like I could not deal with it. I feel like if in college I didn't make my friends so quickly, I would not have like lasted that long.
Yeah.
Living alone's not that fun, just saying. I can just speak my 2 cents. It's really not that fun.
Yeah, I just think about the number of times I need to talk to someone at my house, and I think I need people around that I can immediately get help from if I need it.
Literally, I feel like I'm such an introvert, so if I'm not living with someone, I will not have human contact whatsoever.
Exactly.
Like I need someone there to be like, get up, get out of bed, go do something.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've had this conversation like with my parents. My brother really wants to go to Texas, and I would love to go like after him if he ever moves there, just because I want to see what it's like too. But yeah, my parents are just like, this is your house. It's always open to you, and if you want to go and live by yourself for a little bit, that's fine. Like house is always going to be here. So that's one thing I really love about being in an Indian family. You're not just kind of a visitor in your home after you turn like 18.
Yeah, I think it's weird that like some parents are like 18, you're gone. I don't think that's such a weird foreign concept to me.
Yeah, I think it's not as common now. I don't think it's even like financially possible if you're like even a semi-responsible parent to kick your kid out at 18 and be like they're gonna survive on their own, because just life is a lot harder and things are so much more expensive.
Yeah. I think especially where we are, being from New England is way more is way pricier than it is like down south. Like if our the amount of money our parents have put into our homes in New England, if they had done that in Texas, we would be living in huge mansions. Like, it's ridiculous.
That's true, but I think also in Texas it factors out with like wages, so people who live there are also making a lot less money.
Yeah. They also have tornadoes.
It's also very hot.
And hurricanes.
And like it's the South.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
I had a question. Do you guys feel like there's like a pressure of living at home that you like have to be here?
I feel like at first there was a pressure to live at home, only because like the reasoning behind it was, oh, you can work around the area and then come home and just save money. So I think that was like one of the main reasons. And also like our parents, like in a desi household or Indian household, not all, but I think most, parents want their children to stay with them as long as they can.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So I think I saw this from like kind of a childish perspective when I was little, and just growing up now, I kind of see it a bit differently. I don't think it's some pressure. I think that, at least in my family, my parents were just like gonna be there for me for like literally anything and everything I could possibly need. So like I don't see it as like you have to help them, if that makes sense. It's just they do so much for you. Like I could never even pay back a fraction of what they've done for me. So I don't see it as an issue. I think it's maybe a bit more pressure if I was like the son of the family. And I'm not saying that because I believe it. I'm saying that because that's just kind of how the gender roles are in Indian communities. Is honestly very sexist. But I think if I was the son, I'd be a bit more stressed. But even with that, Indian people have it set up where they support their sons. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I agree with you. And I feel like that's also going into like a different question of like, will we support our parents when we get old? Or no, when they get old. But I definitely agree that Indian society is based on the male and bringing him up right versus the female, which is kind of just like there to like do work and shit.
Or just like the very like popular argument is like, oh yeah, when you get married and have your own house. Oh yeah, when you get married and have your own house. But whereas like for the son, it's like very like, we gotta do this for him, we gotta do this for him to make sure he's good for the future.
Yeah, and it's also like the house that he's living in is also his house versus it's like not as much as it is yours.
Yeah.
I think as much as our parents want us to think that like the home that we're living in right now is like ours whenever we want it, even if we get married and then get out and live with our husbands, like they do say that it's our home, but in the end of the day, like we got married and we left, and yeah, we grew up here. We like when we were children, we grew up here and we had memories, but in the end of the day, like they could say whatever they wanted, but honestly, there's a little bit um of a said thing that the male, like the brother or the male heir, will be like living in that house. So I don't know.
I have like this weird like feeling of that when you get married, you're expected to move in with like your husband and that becomes your house in the sense that you have no ownership of any property until you leave, or like you're kind of just like nothing. You're kind of like you were born into your family, you're kind of a burden, and then you leave and then you kind of start your life. I don't know, I kind of have that thought sometimes.
Well, I think that's where expectation versus reality comes in. Like, we expect that, like, yeah, the son's more assumed to be the person who's gonna get everything. But I know my dad, and if I go and move out, even to my own apartment, there's no way he's not gonna help me or not help pay for bills if I really need it. So the expectation's very like, yeah, you're a girl, you're gonna get married and have your own house. But I know what my parents are like, and I know it's definitely not gonna be so black and white.
I don't know, I've had like some pushback about like moving only because I like always mention, oh, I'm gonna move to Boston, I'm gonna move to London, and everyone's like, oh yeah, we'll see if that happens. And I don't know, I feel like at this point I've proven that I do what I want to do. But then like always getting those comments about like, why do you want to move, are we not good enough for you, are we not enough for you, those kind of thoughts like get into my head and I'm like, I don't I don't know.
Oh, so I don't get those comments. So if you want to talk more about that, because I don't know where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, so I get these comments mostly from like Harpreet's mom slash like my parents. I was like, oh, I want to go get my master's in Boston, and then they're all like, oh, like why do you have to go so far? And then anytime I mention getting a job that's like not in our town, everyone's like, why do you need to get a job somewhere else, even if it's like 20 minutes away? They're like, why do you need to do that? Like, is this town not good enough for you? Are we not good enough for you? And to like some extent, like I don't want to like say this to their faces, but I'm like, no, this is not good enough for me. I have so many plans for myself in the future, and like this is just not the place that any of that will be achieved.
Yeah, just for I kind of had same kind of comments
Yeah.
when I was gonna leave. But it's up to you to change that narrative,
Yeah, I
and
also
then
feel yeah.
eventually they'll get over it and they'll support you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, if you decide to come back, sure, they're gonna be open arms and they'll have you back. But, yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah. I don't know, I feel like I love the family and everything, but like I find that I like to live away from them. And like I like to come back to visit. I just feel like that's way more fun for me and I get more happiness out of that versus like living here full time every single day and experiencing the same things over and over again. I just get so stuck and like all my energy is just drained. Like I feel like I'm a slug when I'm at home.
So Jesse, with what you're saying, like, I think it's just challenging for us as Punjabi-American women, because we have to live in kind of like this framework where we have to accept certain sexist beliefs, but we also have to know that they're there, but then also see how we're going to live with them and not necessarily accept them. So it's just challenging because you know what the popular opinion is going to be. You know what you want to do, and then you have to find some way to marry the two and make it work.
Yeah.
It's just really, I think every Punjabi American girl probably deals with that. And not even just American, like any Punjabi girl knows like what the expectations are and what they want to do, and they have to figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah, I agree with that because I tend to just like either like just like leave the conversation after they say that, or I tend to just like, I don't know, for some reason that's like a really touchy thing for me, and I'm just like pop off and I'm just like, I don't care what you say, I'm just gonna do me, I don't need you, and I end up saying that to them and I'm like, that's not the best reaction.
Yeah. I think in this case it's better to just ask for forgiveness than permission, honestly.
Oh my god, people say that to me all the time and I'm like, when will I actually start living by that?
Yeah, I had a friend once tell me that I should just like tell them that I'm gonna go somewhere and not ask permission to go there.
Yeah.
Because they can't stop you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually tried to do that. Long story short, I was gonna go somewhere with Harpreet last week, and I told my parents. Like originally, I told them that I was just gonna go and I wasn't asking permission. I was like, "Oh, I'm not asking your permission." Then a couple days later, I was like, "I need to ask your permission." So I asked their permission. One said yes, one said no. And long story short, and it ended up being like this huge thing. And I was like, I don't know.
No, you can't backtrack and you can't be disrespectful about it. Just be very matter of fact. Like, yeah, so I'm gonna be doing this today. And I read that, sorry. I read that that's actually just a really good way to go about life. Like once you get into the working world, don't be like, "Hi, can I have a day off next Tuesday?" Just be like, I need next Tuesday off. And then just come at it as like a problem that you're trying to solve with your employer. Don't try to be like, "Can I please have this day off?" That's just gonna serve you a lot better in life.
Yeah, being assertive and being matter of factly.
Yeah.
All right. So after all of that, I want to know, like, what are your long-term goals? Like, where do you want to live? What do you want to do? And like, where do you see yourself?
For me personally, I have had enough of living in just a very white area, and I really, really just want to live somewhere that has more Punjabi people. Not necessarily like a place like Brampton, but just a place where if I really wanted to meet someone who's Punjabi, I probably could, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And the logistics of that, I have no idea, but that would be like a long-term goal for me.
Yeah. I think short term for me, I want to move to Boston within the year with the homies. Long term, I really want to end up working in London, moving abroad, and just like living my best, like Paddington Bear, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants life out there, with obviously Harpreet and Amin visiting me every single month so I do not feel lonely.
Alrighty. You're gonna enjoy all that nice free healthcare.
I'm very excited for healthcare because I don't pay for it now and I won't have to pay for it in the future.
I would say long-term goal for me would definitely be living in a more diverse area, just like Amin said. I just don't know where that would be. I know Amin and I had kind of conversations about how she wants to maybe like go to Jersey or like experiment with Texas, but I honestly don't want to move to Texas.
I said earlier that I want a buddy to go with, so let's like work this out, Harpreet. We can live in different apartments though.
I'm not going to Texas. But yeah, like it would be somewhere that was way more diverse racially, because kind of tired of seeing white people everywhere and not seeing someone that looks like me, like turning a corner or walking past someone that's brown. And yeah, it's just tiring and it's boring. But yeah, that's a long-term goal. But I just don't know geographically where.
Oh, I have another question. Are you guys like city people or like town people?
I'm a suburban person.
Oh, I can see that. I can see that. I'm a city girl.
Ugh, don't like cities.
I really do. There's always something to do, and that's what I love about it.
I like the city. I wouldn't live there. I would just visit. So I am a suburban girl as well.
That's fine. I
I've
can
met you
support
on
you.
so many things, Harpreet.
I don't know. I love cities. I love them. I would want to experience living in a city like short term, but in the end of the day, like thinking about like long-term goals again, having family and whatever, I would live in a suburb.
I have a solution. This is what we're gonna do. I will live in a city. You guys will live in an hour away in a suburban town. And then whenever you wanted to visit, you will come to the city with me. And whenever I got sick of the city, I get to go visit with you.
Basically, you're just gonna move to Boston.
Yeah, well, no, because like, what if I can move to London and live in Central, and then you guys can move there, and you guys can live.
Not central.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't live in Central. I'm trying to think of the town, like Hillingsburg. That's not even the town. You guys would live in the suburban Indian area. They have a really pop-in Little Indian there.
Little India.
Yeah, get your Punjabi on there.
What?
Okay. So I'm gonna smoothly go into our segment. This week's segment is childhood memory of the day. What is your favorite childhood memory or a childhood memory?
Damn, that's a huge question.
It really is, though.
I have one. So this memory is of me in India sitting on manja and with like a bunch of guavas around me. Sane.
Oh,
Um
yeah.
and our nani and Nana, our nani was there, and then I think Nanaji was like off to the side a little bit, but that was like my favorite memory because guava is really great. It's yummy. But it was just like a memory with Nani that I like carry on to till today.
I love the guava tree we have in Sonnet. Literally the best thing ever.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
Oh, I have mine.
Okay, you want to go first?
Yeah, so when we were little, we used to live, my family and Harpreet's family, on top of the restaurant because there was like a really big apartment right on top of the restaurant. It was 4 bedrooms. And I just love like how every Sunday it was just we would order like pizza or Chinese food like lo mein. And I remember having like my Coke, and it was always like exciting because it was like Teen Nick and it was only on like the weekends. So I just love all of those weekends. And yeah.
Okay. I think. Oh my god, I just had it in my brain. I forgot my memory. Oh, I
That's
found
another
it.
one of my favorite memories, by the way. We would pig out so hard. Anyway.
Okay, I remember mine. Going to school when I was in elementary school, some days, Amin and Guggen would come pick up. No, Amin would come pick up me and Guggen from school, and then there's this one day where Harpreet was there too. She was picking up Amrinder and I outside because when you were like a pickup student, you'd go outside and you'd have to like raise your hand to get like your parent, and then Amin picked up Guggen inside. And it was like this whole big thing because the three of us got to go back with Harpreet and Amin, and then we went back to Amin's house and we all just like played, and it was like really fun. And like those days were the best when like they would come pick us up from school.
Oh, I think I remember that. It's so interesting. Jaspreet is like always telling me memories of me and like her doing something that I have no memory of. So it's kind of cool.
I like the happy ones. But pretty much that's the end of our episode, guys. Thanks for listening this week.
We have a big announcement that Heartbreak is going to make.
Hey y'all, next week's episode will be our last episode of this season of the 3Preet podcast.
Oh my
god. So finally, Amin and I will answer why we aren't married yet. Jaspreet can kind of chime in on where she is at, because she's a lot younger than us. She just turned 22, so we'll have her perspective and our perspective. But yeah, we'll finally answer that question. Thank you.
Thanks for listening.